Okay, hello. At this time, I'd like to call the order of the January 21st, 2026 regular meeting of the Community Safety Committee. Pledge of Allegiance. Please all rise and join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Secretary, could you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Member Ballantyne.
Here.
Member De Leon. Member Hom. Member Kim. Member Nam. Member Rosario. Member Tan. Member Vora, noted absent for the record. Vice Chair Wilson.
Here.
And Chair Gonzalez.
Here.
Do I have a motion to excuse Sergeant Vora?
Motion to excuse. Second.
Second. Sorry, who called the second?
I'll second.
Second, okay. All those in favor to excuse Member Vora?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Excuse. We have a presentation, item number agenda 4A, informational report providing a status update on water and sewer infrastructure, including an emergency repair of the C4 well and purchase of imported water. Mr. Secretary, could you please take the lead?
Yes, thank you, sir. This evening, we have Director of Public Works, Alvin Papa, with us this evening. He'll be providing an overview of the city's water and sewer infrastructure, as well as an update on some emergency repairs that were necessitated at our C4 well that were just approved by the City Council just before Christmas. So for the presentation, I'll turn it over to Alvin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Alvin Papa. I am the Director of Public Works for the City of Cerritos. Today, I'll be giving you a status update on the water and sewer infrastructure, and also with regards to an emergency repair on the C4 well and the purchase of imported water. This was an item that we brought forth to Council on December 22nd, and we have been updating boards and commissions after that time. On the screen above is a map of our water infrastructure. We have 4 wells. We have 172 miles of pipe and over 15,400 water services. The 4 wells are indicated by the stars you see above, and they provide 100% of our water supply via groundwater that's pumped from the groundwater basin beneath us. Our sewer infrastructure consists of approximately 146 miles of pipe and 6 pump stations. And our sewer infrastructure is a wastewater collection system only. That means that sewage that comes from homes and businesses goes into our sewer system, and we send it to the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts for treatment. So again, we are a collection system only. We collect the wastewater, and then we send it to the county. The county treats the sewage and recycles it at the Los Coyotes treatment plant, which is near the Ironwood 9 golf course, where they treat the water and we use it for recycled water. Both the water and sewer infrastructure I just showed you, most of the infrastructure was built in the 1970s and is approximately 50 to 60 years old. And with that, the system is aged and it's nearing the end of its useful design life and needs a series of repairs and capital improvement projects to ensure that it maintains its reliability. Trying to go to the next slide. Give me 1 second. For some reason, it's not going to the next slide. There it is. On the screen above is a list of our critical water infrastructure needs. We have about $25 million worth of water infrastructure projects that need to be completed to maintain reliability in our system. The most important project of all of those is the C4 well and treatment system that needs to be built. This is a list of our critical sewer infrastructure projects. The main priority, there's $4 million worth of projects there, and the main priority is to CCTV all of our sewer pipelines. Our sewer pipes in the city are primarily made of vitrified clay, which can last up to 100 years, but we need to make sure to maintain it. So over time, you typically get grease buildup, calcium, cracks, sometimes tree roots get in the sewer. So CCTV stands for closed circuit television. And so the inspection entails running a camera through all of those pipes so we can see what's wrong with them. And then there's an accompanying pipe replacement program where we can repair those pipes or line them to ensure that they continue to serve us in the future. And those relining projects can extend the life of our sewer pipe by approximately 40 to 60 years. So earlier this month, there was a public information mailer that went out to all of our residents. It gives a highlight of the infrastructure for our water and sewer, along with a lot of the projects that need to be built. One of the most important things you see on there is that square with all the squiggly lines. That is a QR code. So if you take your phone and scan it with your camera, it will take you to the city's website where we have information on our water and sewer infrastructure, the proposed water and sewer rates adjustments that are coming up, along with FAQs, where we answer a lot of questions with regards to our water and sewer infrastructure. And all that information is available on the website. Now on to the C4 emergency well repair. As I had mentioned, the water system is about 50 to 60 years old, and we recently had a well failure at our C4 well. So C4 well is over near Reservoir Park. This is over near Studebaker. What ended up happening is sand and gravel was found within the well itself back in October 2025. We shut the well off, we pulled the pump out, and then we conducted a camera inspection. So the well casing runs about 1,000 feet deep. So we put a camera down all 1,000 feet, and then we inspected it. And what we found is that there was a hole in the casing, letting all this rock and gravel come into the well. That becomes an issue for us because it damages the well equipment. There's millions of dollars worth of equipment in the well. The rocks and gravel aren't meant to be there, and it damages. It's like having rocks in your motor in the engine of your car. It'll damage it. So we shut the well off, and then we developed a repair with our emergency contractor, General Pump, and went to City Council on December 22nd, 2025, to get approval to complete the repair. The cost of that repair is approximately over $600,000. And the contractor is tentatively scheduled to come perform the work. It says up there late January, early February, but I spoke to the contractor this afternoon, and so they're looking to mobilize the first week of February. Since the well has been off since October. Ever since we've turned the well off, we've paid an additional $196,000 in additional water costs. And that's because when we buy water from the Water Replenishment District, that's the agency that oversees the management of the groundwater basin. And the groundwater is the water underneath the city. That's the 1,000 feet deep. That cost is $454 an acre foot. But because the C4 well has this damage and it's turned off, we've been buying import water from the Central Basin Water District, and that comes from MET, which stands for the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. That source of water is $1,698 an acre foot right now, versus the $454 if we were pumping from beneath our feet. So that import water, the reason it's so expensive is because it comes from the Colorado River, and they bring it all the way down here through 3 different states. And the other source of water, of import water, is from the State Water Project, which comes from Mount Shasta, travels down through the Bay Area, through the Bay Delta, and then through a series of channels and canals that go through the Central Valley down here. So it's very expensive to get that water here. And so that's the premium we're paying. And so we're paying right now for the much more expensive import water. But when the repairs start in February, we anticipate that the repair work will be completed within 3 to 4 months. And so after that, our hope is that we can start reusing the well again and purchasing groundwater at the cheaper cost. And so with that, that concludes my presentation. There is no action being requested of the Community Safety Committee today. This is an informational item. So that concludes my presentation. Here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Do any of my fellow committee members have any comments or questions? Okay, this time I'd like to open it up for public comments on this agenda item, if anybody in the public would like to speak on this presentation. Okay. Seeing none, we'll be moving on to agenda item number 5, public comments and suggestions. We do have a couple of speaker cards, so I'll go ahead and call your name down. First card is Ileana Prado.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be speaking about something that's been going on in our neighborhood for quite a long time. In December 23rd, we have a neighbor that's been literally terrorizing our neighborhood for years. We've talked to the captain, we've tried to address it, but this time, December 23rd, he attacked one of our neighbors, the lady sitting right over there, while she was taking out her trash. He went, he pushed her down, she fell, she broke her hand, she had a brain bleed, she was all bruised up, okay? We don't know, we'd like to know what we could do about that in case he gets out. He hasn't been out. From what my understanding is, he's in jail right now at LA County. And, our neighbor, I've got a couple neighbors here. I've got a letter here I'd like to read also from another neighbor. And it says, "Dear Sir and Madam, my name is Mayung Lee, and I live at 13430 Felsen Street. I'm writing to report ongoing concern regarding a neighbor named Daniel who lives nearby. His repeated behavior has made me and others in the neighborhood feel very uncomfortable and unsafe. Daniel often sits in front of his house without a shirt on, staring at people who pass by. When I go for walks at a nearby park, there are times when he walks directly toward me, and it's very intimidating. This has caused me so much fear that I avoid eye contact with him, and I quickly walk away. On many occasions, he has started shouting loudly in front of my home, which is very frightening. A friend who lives on the next block has told me that she no longer walks her dog near our area because she feels unsafe." It keeps on saying the same thing, and I mean, I've got people that live on Riva, which is 3 blocks away, and we have a phone list. And when the officers came to take him that day after attacking Flora, I mean, people knew it in the whole neighborhood. They know who this guy is, and nobody wants to go by our street because he just goes off the deep end. I just spoke to Captain Drew here about another neighbor who said she sees him sitting out there. At one time, she was going by with her daughter and her granddaughter, and this guy was out there masturbating, sitting on a chair. So, I mean, we've come here before, we don't know what exactly to sit there, what can be done with this guy. That's all I've got to say. Maybe Beverly would also like to speak.
Thank you for your comments. I do have a public comment card for Beverly Grismer.
Karen has it.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, hi, everyone. My name's Beverly Grismer. I live at 13503 Felsen Street, about 4 houses down from Daniel. And Daniel's been there a long time. He wasn't like this his whole life. I remember him walking home from school when he was about 12, very happy with his mom and dad. But apparently, medical things changed, and he has become a person who everyone in our neighborhood is afraid of. When you see Daniel coming, you go the other direction, or you go into your house and lock your door. And we don't like living like this, but it does make life a little bit easier. One day he came up to my gate, and my gate has an entryway, so it has a gate in front. And I heard something rattling, and my ring went off, so I went to look out the window, and it was Daniel standing there. And he actually took the lock off my gate, and you could see him walking home with it. And so I actually had a video of it, so I thought, well, I think I'll call the sheriff and just let him know, that he's taking things. So the sheriff came, 4 cars ended up coming, and they went to his house, and then they walked back, and then Daniel was coming down the street. And he kind of lunged a little bit forward, and the officer put his hand on his weapon. I don't know if it was a stun gun or a gun or whatever, but he came towards Daniel, and Daniel says, "Oh, go ahead and arrest me," because he's been taken before for different things that happened. And so he finally went back home, told him to go home, and the officer says, "Do you want to write a report?" And I said, "Well, what will happen?" They go, "Well, he's disabled, so nothing's going to happen to him." So I said, "Well, I don't want to report over a gate lock, I can replace that." But then he has also come up to my next door neighbor, who is about 83, and he came right up to his face and started screaming in his face and really scared him. And then the other neighbor across the street has 2 grandchildren, but she won't, take them out if Daniel's on the street. So basically, we're like living around him. If he's out there, we run or we hide. We don't usually confront him because we don't know what's going to happen. And then also, it was this past Halloween, I was going down to the neighbor's house to help her pass out candy, and he was actually there relieving himself on the lawn. And so, yes, he is a very colorful person, but he does, and it has been very quiet since he's been gone. So there is a definite change. But most of the people on our block are probably between 60 and 85. So we don't want any confrontation with him. I mean, it's easier to go lock yourself in the house than to, go out when he's there. He also screams in the middle of the night. He screams obscenities and it's loud, and he is a big guy. He's probably 250 pounds. So when he's running down the street, you could actually hear the sidewalk shaking. So we don't want to get in his way, and basically we stay away from him. So that's about it. I hate to see him not have a place to live or end up on the street with his mental condition, but I don't know. If something can be done, maybe he needs some guidance with taking his meds, because usually it's when his meds are off and then they take him to the hospital, then a week later they bring him back and it's good for a while and then it happens again. So, and his mom and his grandmother were living with him, but they've taken off and I don't know exactly why. But when the garage door is open, there is so much junk in there. And then one time, not to say that we don't have junk in our garage, but it was like the windows were broken on the garage door. And then when they open the door, when he leaves the door open, it looks all dark in there. And one time he actually did come to me and he asked me, "Did they turn the electricity back on yet?" So I have a feeling there's no electricity in that house either. But anyway, that's the, a summary of what's going on. And if anything can be done about it, it would be great, for his health benefits and our health benefits, we'd really like to see something resolved. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I do have one more, Myung Lee.
All right. Good evening to everyone. Sorry, I just stepped in,
Could you
trying
please-
to collect myself.
Could you please state your
But,
name as
my name is Ellen Rojales. My husband's name is Vigo, and we have a 26-year-old daughter named Elise. The reason why I'm here, just to hear my voice also, a complaint, a major complaint now. I live across Alina, and I live just next to Flora, right there. And this meeting took its toll, in my opinion, because she got hurt. And it was a bloody scene that day. And we came from Buena Park and we moved to Cerritos just because I chose that place because I heard about good things about Cerritos. It's a peaceful, progressive city. So I don't want to leave my daughter while my husband and I are at work, because I want her to be in a secure, safe place. That's the main thing, because she's our only daughter and we have dogs. Now, we didn't find out about Daniel maybe a few months when we were there already. And he's showing his candor, behavior, attitude. And we hear stories from Alina, from Maya, from Lena, from everybody there, even Karen too. And he has the habit of screaming and yelling like 2 o'clock in the morning, give it 2, 3, 4. And the reason why I know that, because my husband goes to work at around 2. He's a postman. He works at the post office in Anaheim. So the major thing that I complained, I was walking the dog, and then my husband was cleaning the car on a daylight, Sunday, and he started cussing and, warbling there. I don't know where he's addressing his anger, because he's like that. He just flipped out in a blue. And my husband, he's so patient. And then he got up from where he's washing his car, and then he started cussing, Daniel like that. Are you talking about me? And then he said, yeah, he's a big guy. He looks like a sumo wrestler to me. And then my husband was about to get something to hit him. And I said, no, stop. I was with my cane with the dog. No, don't. I don't want you to have a record. Please, stop. And so he was about to attack Daniel, because I said, honey, why did you do that? You are more lesser than him. And he said, I had it all these years, all my anger. He said, I had it. I don't want to deal with that guy anymore. He better just go in another space, And we learned that whenever there's a commotion in there or some issue, the police car will come. We've seen this, of course. The policeman will come, and then after a few days, he will come back. And I said, we were wondering why. And I was told that his mom has a position in the LA County. I don't know if that's true, but this is, for me, he's a menace, okay? I cannot tolerate, because all my life here in America, I live in peaceful neighborhood. And that's the reason why I chose Cerritos to permanently live here, because of that. And with that guy being in front of our house every day, I don't think that, I had the wrong impression now of Cerritos, and I don't want it to be, spread out like that and scare other neighbors. In fact, I have this neighbor next to Alina before. I think they're a Korean couple, and she's conceiving, and it was Christmas time. There was a decor there, and Daniel just took it and grabbed it, and then, of course, I forgot her name. She got mad, and she called the police. Imagine if she loved to stay in that neighborhood, she will stay. But no, she made her way to move out of there. Now we have a new tenant, also expecting a baby. Her name is Nancy. They're not here. But that component, Alina, me, Flora, Anthony, and Lena, Yeah, Dave and Maya, by the way. We've been always in the watch with Daniel. What's the next thing he's gonna pull, you know? And hopefully, the mom will hear us out and be considerate to, you know, not to make him return in our neighborhood. And probably, I'm just praying and wishing that they will sell the house. Period. So that's my piece. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public cards?
He said to keep it for,
This is what we submit, because she read it.
Okay. Would anybody else in the audience would like to speak? Any other public comments at this time? Okay. We'll be closing public comments. Or
Hey, sir, if I could speak on that for,
Yes,
for
of
just a moment to give you guys an update on what's going on with that. So I've been aware of this gentleman for a while. A couple years ago, we had a coffee with operations. Somebody had brought that up to us, some incident that he was involved in. It got my attention because the individual said, well, yeah, he did this, this, and this, but we didn't report it. I remember them specifically saying at the event, well, we didn't report it. And I said, well, hold on, let me get a deputy right now. We can report this right now. So we took a report on it right now. We ended up following up. I think we arrested him at that time. I don't know exactly what the district attorney did with those, if they filed the charges or not on him at that time. Other comments that I heard where he's been gone for a couple days and come back. So that's, a lot of times that's common when somebody's placed on a 72-hour hold for a mental instability. A 5150 hold is what we call it. They get assessed by a physician. And if the physician doesn't find the need to hold them any longer, then they're released. So that was probably a lot of times if you've called and he was behaving weird, walking around the streets, yelling, screaming, or whatever, and we took him in for that, he may have been released by them. That's not in our control. That's psychiatrist is the one that oversees that. In regards to the incident that we're speaking about today, the gentleman is in custody. He's awaiting a court date to show up. I think it's in February, around the middle of February. And he's been charged by District Attorney's Office for assault with a deadly weapon, hands, feet, or fist, regarding that incident. And for future, I hear a lot of people coming up here and saying, hey, you know, this guy stole a lock off my gate. Hey, this guy's masturbating in front of my house. Hey, this guy's doing this illegal activity. He's over here doing this or that. And then one of you guys, I think, said that he took a lock off your gate, and the deputy said, well, then probably nothing's going to happen to him or something like that. And then you said, well, I'm not interested in pressing charges. I encourage you guys to call us on all these events, every single one of them. Every time that this individual is misbehaving, doing something illegal, call us. If you don't get the desired result that you think is fair or right, go ahead and call the station and ask for the watch commander. And you can tell them the story of, I had my lock stolen off the gate. The deputy said that, we couldn't do anything about it, or whatever that was. And the watch commander will help resolve that, either send the deputy back out there, have him write a report, arrest the guy, or whatever the case is, if that's the way that incident went down. But I encourage you guys to please call us on every event. The altercation with the gal's husband when he felt like he had to, hit him with an object, all those instances add up. So if we can get this guy, more and more reports documented, arrest him more and more times, we follow up with the DA when we arrest this guy, like we did this time, to get charges filed against these individuals for the illegal activity. But that's really what I want to push out to you guys is, for every incident that he's involved in, call us, no matter how small, and maybe you don't even think it's a crime. Call us, let us make that determination. If you're not satisfied with the result of our response, please call the station, ask for the watch commander, and we can help you out from there. In regards to long-term dealing with the individual, you can get a restraining order through the courts. Different types of restraining orders out there for them. Sometimes there's stay away 100 feet from the house or 100 yards from the house, and just different things that the judges will allot for those particular individuals, especially in the case that just occurred in regarding the violent activity that happened there. That's definitely a good case for a restraining order against an individual. So as well as other, cases where he's threatened other people, I would encourage you all to go to seek a restraining order against this individual. Those are my comments in regards to that. I want you to know, though, he is in custody Charges have been filed against him for assault with a deadly weapon, and we will be following up and monitoring it very closely.
I have a question, Captain. For the restraining order, there's so many of us afraid of him. I live on Felsen too, so do each individual have to get a restraining order?
So it's going to be up to the judge ultimately how that works. But I would encourage you you can go either individually or together, whatever you so choose, to the court and request that. And they will look at each individual case on its merit and decide whether it's worthy of a restraining order or not. So definitely, from my personal experiences, I think that this would be a good qualifying case at hand, the one we just had, for a restraining order. But I am not a judge.
What I mean is, can we go as a group to file the restraining order? If I want it from my house, they want it from their house.
So I'm sure
that
you can
work?
go in there as a group and request it. There's going to be paperwork for probably each individual to fill out. So they probably are going to ask each of you to fill out whatever reason you want for the restraining order, or you can go by yourselves individually to go do it. Either way, it wouldn't matter, I don't think, if you would go as a group of persons or one person. Like I said, the judges will look at it on individual merit for each person, right? So take that into consideration. Like I said before, I am not a judge. I do not make those decisions, but I know that they will allot in circumstances where people are in danger, restraining orders. So I encourage you to go seek a restraining order if you guys feel that is necessary. And I believe in this particular instance here, it's definitely worth looking into.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Chair, before we close public comments, I would like to note for the record that prior to the meeting, we received one written correspondence that was submitted by the deadline listed on the agenda. The correspondence has been distributed to the committee members, and that correspondence has been entered into the official record and is available upon request through the office of the city clerk during regular business hours.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Moving on to item number 6, the consent calendar. We have the approval of minutes for Wednesday, November 19th. Do we have a motion to?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion? Do we have a second? Member De Leon? Okay, we have a motion set by Member Wilson, second by De Leon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Item 7, new business. Mr. Carey, can you?
Yes, sir. Item 7A is our lone new and old business item. That report will be given by Captain Strong. He'll be giving us an overview of informational crime statistics, crime prevention tips, and emergency preparedness options that are available to the community. So I'll turn it over to Captain Strong for his presentation.
Thank you, sir. So first, I wanted to go over the Part 1 crimes, as we usually do during the meetings. Currently, there's been 6 homicides year to date in the city compared to 1 last year. Most of these are solved. There's been a couple in the riverbed areas that homicide detectives are working on. We are following that very closely because that number is up quite a bit, and it is concerning to us. So our special assignment team is in those canals doing patrols and checking things out and checking the individuals out that are down there. But we're working on that, and most of them are in custody, but that number still is alarming. If you guys see anything suspicious near Coyote Creek or those areas, give us a call. We'll be happy to go out there and check that out. Obviously, the rape is down. We won't go into that any further for now, but that number is 0 year to date, which is fantastic compared to 7 the year before. Armed robberies are down 33%. Strong arm robberies, which a lot of those occur from the shopping centers, those are down 25%. Shoplifting itself with robberies is down 57%. So the total robberies are down 27%. So we're doing really good in that category. We always want to go lower, but that's a good basis for us. So overall, the violent crime is down 27.74, so almost 28%. So we're doing well in that area. Let's move on to property crime. Burglaries, residential burglaries. So we are down 36% in residential burglaries. We had 201 the year before, 127 this year. That's a great decrease. However, I'm sure if you're one of the 127 houses that were burglarized, you don't feel the same way. So I want to let everybody know that we're still working diligently on that. In fact, I just had some good news come the other day. On Friday, January 16th at approximately 4:45 p.m., one of our specialized units for the department located some burglary suspects near the 19,500 block of Rainbow Court. And a short pursuit ensued after that, and multiple individuals were taken into custody for burglary. So one burglary crew has been apprehended, but we're still working hard, trying to get these guys in custody and keep the neighborhood safe. One thing I did want to bring up that was kind of unique was we got a call last week about a individual at a residence who located a camera in their tree. And the camera had leaves and camouflage on it, and it had a self-energetic pack on it that powered it. So it evidently had been placed there by somebody that was watching the home. We recovered that item, but I just wanted to make it clear to you guys, keep your eyes peeled. If you guys see one of you, and pass this on to your neighbors, if you see somebody that you don't recognize or a service car that looks suspicious, messing around in your neighbor's trees, messing around in the bushes, give us a call. We'd be happy to come out there and check it out to see, if somebody's trying to place a camera there to watch your house. What they're doing is placing cameras to watch people's houses. As they come and they go, they're getting patterns. And then when people leave is probably when they'd be more likely to break into the residence. So just keep your eyes peeled. If you see anything suspicious like that, let us know. Please pass that out to your neighbors as well. I also want to remind you in regards to residential burglaries, and I know it's been said again and again, but I can't say it enough. Remember to leave the exterior light on, leave the interior light on at night, car in the driveway, lock the gate. I'm not saying buy a dog, but houses with dogs are burglarized much less. Alarm signs displayed, cameras on the exterior, ring doorbells. Like I said, lock the side gate. So just try and harden the target a little bit. Let's not have a completely blacked out house with no cars in the driveway, no lights on anywhere. That looks like nobody's home. It looks like a good target to bad guys if we do that. So that's all I've got for residential burglaries at this point in time. We'll go down to the larceny section. So that's grand theft over $950. That's down 12%. Vehicle burglaries are down 15%. Petty thefts, and this is a big one at our retail centers, that is down 38%, which is really good. And then so overall, theft is down 26% in the city, almost 27%. So we're looking good there. Vehicle theft is down 28%. The way that the mathematics are calculated on this, it shows 0% year-to-date raise in the arsons. However, it went from 4 this year from 0 last year. So anybody that does any math knows that that's not 0. However, these particular instances, I've looked into them. Some of them are, homeless person lighting a tree on fire. Another one was a piece of equipment lit on fire by somebody. So, and a couple of them, the person's in custody. So they're not of huge concern as far as somebody's coming around burning a house down or anything like that. But it is definitely something that we're watching with an increase from 0 to 4. We don't have a serial arsonist running around the city or anything like that. Just be aware of that. Overall, the Part 1 crime total is down 28.58%, which is pretty good. And I want to keep going on that path with your guys' help. So that's all I got, sir. And then we're going to move on now to the traffic with Sergeant Neil Winland.
Hi, thank you, sir. So for the year, then 2025, we were looking great until the last couple of months. Our traffic's rose about 10 to 15 more than the average. I did look back on it. We have a motor out on medical right now. And the majority of the TCs that were happening on those months were on rainy days. That's what I attributed to. Speed and turning was a majority of the factor. The mall still has leads the city in most TCs. Most of them are backing up a parking spot, or you're making that stop sign turn and someone doesn't yield. They're non-injuries, thank goodness. Wednesdays were the significant day. We had some reports of over off of Marquardt and Artesia, where people were doing circles, donut holes. I think I talked to you. So I had a couple of the graveyard guys do patrol checks. We lucked out one night. He was on a traffic stop for something else. He heard the in the street. He raced over and got a guy for reckless driving. He arrested him, booked him. He was released on a citation. The DA filed right now, so he goes to court in March on it. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report. Some new changes in 2026. School zones will go to 20 miles per hour. They were at 25. The slow down, move over law, if you've heard of that, it's where construction or police officers are stopped at the side of the road. You're required to now either get over one full lane or slow down. Our e-bikes are going to have red rear reflectors and lights at all times, 24 hours a day, whether the sun's up or not. And then something minor, license plate obstruction. So I don't know if anybody's heard of these eBay or Etsy sites that make license plates that mimic yours. So you have a pink car, if you will, they can make you a pink license plate. Those are illegal in California, and you can be stopped. They're considered obstructed plates. Even though your plate is the same, there's not allowed. So they increased the penalty to $50 for the plate and no longer correctable. Other than that, anybody have any questions?
What are the incidences of street takeovers in our city?
We've only had, we haven't had any actual street takeovers in 2025. We've had a couple incidences where they started to gather up on Studebaker and Artesia. We did have one.
We did have one just actually last weekend on 195th and around 195th and Studebaker. I won't go too far into detail on it right now, but just to let you know that was a County Parks car club event that we were not notified of. However, we did end up responding, and it took a while to get rid of the large amount of cars and people that were out there. The estimation was about 1,000 people and about a couple hundred cars. So we garnered resources from surrounding stations and responded to that, issued a number of citations to individuals for illegal parking. And, we have some plans that we're putting together for next time if this occurs again to be able to respond even faster and tow some more of those vehicles even quicker than what we had last time. So we are definitely looking into that. I talked to my partners at the county parks area who ultimately had the first knowledge of that incident, which we were unaware of. And from now on, I told them, if you have a get-together at our park in our area in Cerritos, please inform us so that we're able to plan for that event as well. That way we're not reacting, we're proactive about the event. So the captain over there, they're good with that, and we're going to work together to make sure that that type of incident doesn't happen again.
That's okay. I had heard of that at the park, Don Kanabe, right? Yeah, I had heard about that incident. We've had a couple at Studebaker and Artesia where they started to gather. We responded. One I heard about before the week was over. I adjusted my hours. In fact, the motors did too. We got up there. They started to, there was only 4 of us, and they started to kind of drive in, and we looked tough guys, and we blocked out the intersection, threw our lights on. I think they thought there was more of us than what there was, and they took off. So we I guess you could say, won that battle that night. So other than this one, we had 0 in 2025, right? So we're on it, and hopefully we don't get any this year either.
Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you, Captain. Any questions, comments from my committee members?
So without giving away without giving away tactics of the department, I just like to summarize that by saying, utilizing department resources, we were able to find these guys and apprehend them.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Yes, one question for either officer. Thank you. I can't remember the exact date, but I remember maybe about just under a month ago around the holidays, driving down Shoemaker. I think I recall seeing a number of police cars at Whitney High School. I believe the parking structure was blocked off by police officers and their vehicles. I'd just like to ask if there's a report on that or what occurred. If anybody knows, thank you.
Yeah, I believe there was a report on that. I'm trying to think back because we've been to Whitney High School quite a few times in the last couple of months. There's been a lot of calls generated for potential active shooters or people that are coming to the school to shoot up the school and things like that. So we respond accordingly, as the department has trained the deputies to do. We leave no stone unturned, and we basically make sure the entire high school is safe and cleared. And then we move on from there, and a report's generated, and we investigate those reports. Those specific incidents are very challenging to investigate because the call that's being generated, I'll give you an example. The call that's generated, we had one over at Whitney High School for an active shooter there that was called into the station. After we researched it, looked up the number, we found that that same number called another high school in Northern California and alleged the same type of thing was occurring there. So a lot of these things are computerized, computer generated, and they're utilizing numbers. It could be a number that they found that's, Mr. Kim's number that they're utilizing to call here, and they're using the computer to generate that. So they're difficult to track down, but we're working on it with our crimes, our folks at the High Tech Crimes, and we're trying to figure out who's doing this. We're working on it, but that's what's going on. That's what you see going on over there a lot, is these calls that come in. I don't want to say that they're fake calls because I'd never want to go that route. We take every single one of them as serious as a real call. So just that's how we treat them. Every single one is taken as a serious real call until it's completely concluded and we've determined that it obviously was not real.
I'd like to open up public comments on this item. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this agenda item? Okay. Seeing none, I'll close public comments. Any other comments or questions regarding this item? Captain, I do have a question. I've seen on the Ring community pages more frequently, maybe in the last 2 weeks, about mail theft happening in condo areas, townhome areas. Do you have any recommendations, for those areas?
So in regards to mail theft, yes, I do have a recommendation. Please, if you can avoid it, don't put your mail in a mailbox and put the flag up in a residential area. I know at condominiums and apartments, it differentiates. There's usually a key to those particular locks, but just try and apply the common sense rule. If you put your flag up, it tells somebody that there's something in your mailbox. I just think it's easier, to go somewhere and for me, I take my mail and put it a lot of times at the station in that, postal service box there or another one that's more secure than, a mailbox with the flag up. As far as that goes with apartments, I know that a lot of them are individualized with keys on them. That's something you might want to talk to the management there about, seeing if you can harden those targets by maybe a little bit more secure mailboxes. I know a lot of those are pretty from my experiences, a lot of them are flimsy material, metal. You could almost pry them open a lot of times. So maybe a discussion with homeowners associations or whoever's the apartment management about maybe making some stronger mailboxes, maybe some camera systems on the mailboxes over there. Because from my experiences, they usually put about 50, 60 mailboxes in one little area over there for the mail person to come and put them all in. So maybe a camera over there would be useful. If they have a security guard, maybe the security guard can spend a little more time in that specific area, keeping an eye on that.
Go ahead.
I have a comment about the U.S. mail. We've always grown up being told that it's a federal offense and all that. Should we ask our congressman who investigates that for the U.S. Post Office? Because the Cerritos Post Office always had problems. They never did anything about it. You used to see sticky stuff in the mailbox capturing all the mail. And their solution was they removed the mailbox. You would think that whoever's in charge of catching postal thefts will at least watch it or have a camera and capture the person. So the question is, who's supposed to do that for the post office? Is he doing his job? Is there a guy being paid? We'll have to ask our Congress person, you know, who's our local postal inspector that's supposed to enforce all that?
I think you just answered the question yourself, Gordon.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, when it comes to that, they've got methods to deter that sticky thing that they put in there and still mail out. If you notice, a lot of the new post office, the boxes now, you put something in, you cannot pull it back out. They've generated that whatever that is, that device that, you know, however they build it, makes it so you can't pull an item back out. So they've done that, but you answered the question when you asked it, sir. The post office investigates those crimes.
Thank you, Captain. At this time, do I have a motion to receive and file the report?
Motion to receive and file the report.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Vice Chair Wilson, second by Member Valentine to motion to receive and file the report. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Okay, moving on to item agenda 8, reports from the designated committee staff liaison. Mr. Carey.
Nothing to report this evening, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item 8B, reports from the Community Safety Committee members. Member Valentine?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing. Member De Leon? Nothing. Member Hom?
okay, several items. Basically, I'm in Shadow Park and they come to me knowing that I'm here, so, you know, there's a neighbor outside of Shadow Park that does donuts on Shoemaker, and so, what I told the residents to do is, you know, they'll get a description of the car and try to find out where they park because they're in the next neighborhood. And so they'll be able to turn that person in. Next thing is about the cameras. Okay, what happened is somebody climbed over the fence in Shadow Park and placed a camera with a Wi-Fi transmitter on it so that they can monitor the place. They mentioned that the sheriff said they've done it in other high-price areas, you know, so basically if you're gonna rob somebody or rob a neighborhood, you know, they don't go to Norwalk, they come to Cerritos, you know, and then if you got expensive cars or you look like you're rich or what's happened in the past, store owners have come home and been followed, you know, into their house from their business. You know, they're either carrying jewelry or another person got all their cigarettes stolen, you know, so coming home from a businessman should always be watching behind himself, see who's following. The other thing next to Shadow Park, in the next track over, every 4th of July, there's somebody that sets off those big giant cherry bombs, and it sounds like it's right next door to my house, but it's actually, I think it's about 4 blocks away. But we'll monitor that and let the sheriffs know about where we think the fireworks are coming from, because every year that person will probably do it again. And then the other thing that was mentioned, that Drew mentioned, was the car show at the regional park. That happens a lot with other events. And you know, they're not supposed to park on the lawn. They're not supposed to park on 195th, but they do. Good opportunity to give out tickets, but normally on the weekends, I don't think you have the manpower to take care of all that. And in this case, this was Sunday before Martin Luther King. And so the Shadow Park residents called and they said, you know, there's only 4 officers available. Later, I guess you were able to get more manpower and take control. And then another thing that comes up probably everywhere is the e-bikes. The kids, they're kind of reckless in driving past and not very safe. And then the other item is the U.S. Postal Service. I guess I should call a congressman to find out, you know, somebody has a job that watches mail theft. And you would have think they would have, attacked it like, like I said, we were growing up, stealing mail was a federal offense. Well, if there's no federal officer to do anything, then, we need to know that. Okay, that'll do it.
Thank you, Member Hom. Member Kim?
Nothing to report.
Member Nam?
Do we have any updates on the special patrols that we hired? Like as far as catching somebody in an act of crime or preventing?
Yeah, I can touch base with you on that. Southwest Patrol is the security contractor that we've contracted with for about a little over a year now, I suppose. And we primarily use them to help support the suppression of residential burglary. I think the report that Captain Strong provided indicating that our residential burglary rates are down significantly indicates that Southwest Patrol is having an impact, working in conjunction with Captain Strong's office. So we are happy with the results that we've been seeing with Southwest Patrol. I think Captain would agree that they're an asset for us. They're good to work with. They're responsive. Whenever we call them for something, they're on top of it. So we have been having a good relationship with Southwest Patrol.
Thank you. And has the catalytic converters still been an active crime?
So catalytic converters actually fall under kind of like the precious metals crime, so that they are still going on. We're down in the city of Cerritos on those numbers. However, they're opportunists, right? So if you leave a car in an area that's vulnerable, they like those Priuses. I think the catalytic converters on those are quite expensive. So just remember, that these guys are opportunists. So if the car's not being monitored, if it's out on the street, something like that, they may come. It may look like an easy target for them. So try it just like a residential burglary. Try and harden the target. If you can put that particular car in the driveway instead, or if you still have a car in the driveway and you can put that one in the garage, go ahead and do that. But they're opportunists. So if that opportunity arises for them to steal that, they're going to try and take that.
I'm asking because my son's neighbor had theirs stolen on January 12th between 2 and 4 a.m. So
That's the common time in the middle of the night that they come, and usually they'll use what's called like a Sawzall. If you guys are familiar with that, it's a tool with a long blade on it, and they'll chop it off on the front and the back of it, and then they just run off. And oftentimes deputies will pull over a car. We'll have a whole bunch of those in those. That's why we encourage people to attend. We put the VIN number on cars. Once in a while, we'll host an event. In fact, thanks for bringing that to my attention, because it's probably been a little bit, not too long, but it's been a little while since we've done that. So I'll look into having another one. We call it an etching event.
Yes.
And that's when you can bring your car in and we'll etch the VIN number to we'll etch the VIN number to your vehicle in the catalytic converter. And why is this important? So if a deputy pulls over a car and it has 10 catalytic converters in it, that's fantastic. We found 10 catalytic converters. Who do those belong to? They're not serialized, so we don't know unless you just called up the street and you said, hey, I just had my catalytic converter stolen, and we stopped the car right down the street. And then we go, hey, is this catalytic converter yours? Which one fits back under your car, right? Okay, now we have a victim. So oftentimes it's hard to identify where these items came from. So I encourage you guys, if you can get those VINs etched into those catalytic converters, that's fantastic. So thanks for bringing that to my attention.
it'd be great to have another event.
Thank you, Member Nam. Member Rosario?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on Committee Member Nam's subject on the Southwest Patrol. Are there any thoughts of renewing or anything like that with Southwest, getting more cars maybe?
We have, like I said, an ongoing relationship with them. There are no current plans to expand the service beyond what we've already got. However, we are in budget season with the city council. It might be something that we may want to discuss with the council further, given the success that we've had. But no, at this point in time, there is no plan to expand the service, but there is there's also no plan to discontinue it. We're very happy with it, and it's been a success for us.
Okay, and then the ALPRs, phases 1, 2, I want to just confirm that those are completed, and then 3 is coming, and is there an ETA for that?
So you are correct. Phase 1 and 2 are completed. Phase 3, the cameras arrived at the wrong location. They arrived here. They were supposed to go to the ALPR unit. So I think was it last week? Yeah, last week they came and picked up the giant pallet full of a whole bunch of cameras. They have to configure those cameras so that they can be installed. So that was a week ago. They picked them up. They're configuring them. I will be following up by the end of this week to figure out what their estimated time to install those cameras are.
And there is one mobile unit, is that correct, in the city?
Yes, we do have one mobile unit that's currently stationed in the neighborhood across the street from Liberty Park.
And that unit's been there since we've gotten it, correct?
Yes, that was council directed that mobile ALPR unit be stationed in that neighborhood.
And that also proved to be a positive impact for that neighborhood?
Yes,
right?
yes.
Is there any way that we could move that mobile unit to harder impacted zones, like Zone 59, who's had the most crime rate or most burglaries this year?
It is something that we've had discussions with internally. As I mentioned, the council directed that ALPR unit be located within that neighborhood. So I think it would be something that we would need to get council authorization to move it to an alternative location away from the existing spot. But yes, we've had some internal discussions where we've had some success in that neighborhood, and there are some areas where there could be a need where it could be helpful too. So we've been looking with that, and I think it's something we'll be suggesting to the city council.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Thank you, Captain Strong.
Thank you, Member Rosario. Member 10,
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Vice Chair Wilson.
Since this is the first meeting since the holidays, I hope everyone had a great holiday season. Our neighborhood always shines brighter this time of year. So many homes this year lit up. They lit up. It was so nice. And with so many homes lighting up, they also foiled the trees and put the red ribbons on. And that's a tradition we started, I'd say, 10 years ago, and it's still going. And I have no more trees around my house, but they're still doing it. So that was happy holidays. We still, Neil, have ongoing concerns about the speeding on Stowers. Cars continue to race up and down the street, and many drivers, they're still failing to stop at Ashworth and Stowers, and they just blow through it. They don't even slow down. And so they're also coming in the tract off Marquardt to Antonio, and they're turning without slowing down, either right or left. And Antonio, being a straight through, has the right of way, because if you're coming in, you need to yield the right of way to make a right or a left, and they just whip around the corner. So that's Marquardt and Antonio. And we did have a lady pass away there, got hit by a car. There's another speed issue where the drivers are coming in off of Artesia and Garrett and they're zipping around the park around the park and going up like Destino and shooting down Antonio to Marquardt also. So the neighbors have gotten together. Well, they've got together, but they've all called me and said, what's going on? So that's our neighborhood watch issues right now, is the speeding throughout the neighborhood. Neighborhood watch wise, we're doing great. I don't think we've had any burglaries. Yes, we're doing great.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, because Sergeant Wendland will look into that for you, ma'am.
That's all I got.
I just have one thing to report. I did attend Santa Sleigh Day last month at the Cerritos Performing Arts Center, so I'd like to thank the city staff for putting that event on. It was, my family had fun. I know my little one did, and it was nice to see the community out there as well. And at this time, seeing no further business, we will adjourn the meeting at 8:05 PM.